Well, it's the first Saturday in March, not yet Derby Day, but it is Gotham Day at the Big A huge slate of Derby preps all over the country. And James, it's safe to say we got the best one of the lot, I think. This is not something you normally see, folks, but a 14-horse field in a Kentucky Derby tune-up in New York at Aqueduct in the Grade 3 Gotham, the one-turn mile. When this field came out, James, I looked it over and I was just, number one, what a well-balanced and competitive field, but just the sheer size of it really caught me off guard.
Me too, Darren. I knew that there was going to be some horses lining up. I've been reading the notes in recent weeks, but no way did I expect 15 to be entered. And just from all parts of the country, we have horses coming in from Florida, from California. Obviously, some of these horses have been running in New York, but you got an undefeated colt coming off stakes wins at Laurel and Parks. It's just really a deep group and lots of different ways I think we can go in this race.
No, I totally agree. And I'm certainly not envious of the morning line odds maker's job in this race because it is quite the handicapping puzzle. David Aragona made number 13, Eyeing Clover, the morning line favorite at 4-1. That surprised me a little bit. This one shipping in from the fairgrounds is not yet to be beyond 6 furlongs for Brad Cox. 2 wire-to-wire performances. Listen, clearly has a ton of talent, and there's a world of upside with this horse, and you definitely respect the connections. Shout out to Marshall Graham from 10 Strike Racing. Certainly great to see them on the Derby trail. But with a horse that has won both his starts in wire-to-wire fashion, facing a 14-horse field now, I'm always a little bit dubious that if things don't go exactly the way they want it to go, things could get a little tricky, and I don't really want to take too short of a price.
Absolutely. And I was really surprised as well to learn that Iron Clover was a favorite because, I mean, granted, he ran, that first race he ran at Oaklawn was a 12-horse field. And he basically was dueling on the front end that day before edging away to win. But I thought that last race at Fairgrounds, after got away from the gate a little bit, he had things pretty much his own way, beat a short field that day, facing completely different circumstances, Iron Clover in the Gotham.
Yep, Slip Mahoney's the second choice, which this one really surprised me. It came off a nice win last time out in a maiden special weight, going the one-turn mile, and he's always been a horse with a little bit of buzz behind him. In the debut, he ran pretty well from well off the pace behind a talented runner in Litigate. Then he was beaten next time out by a next out winner who's a nice runner, and then finally got the job done while adding Lasix. Now the Lasix comes back off for this, catches a loaded field here. Another one with more questions than answers at a short price on the line.
You look at Slip Mahoney's by Arrogate out of a Got Lucky mare. And if you know pedigrees, this pedigree is built for like a Belmont Stakes type horse. He's going a one-turn mile off of a maiden win. Now, I will say that maiden win, I thought that he wound up on the lead by default, Slip Mahoney, and I think he might be a little bit more effective, perhaps stalking the pace. But he's still got to work out a trip from this outside post with a lot of speed on both sides. Even outside of him, you got a couple speed horses. So it'll be a little interesting to see how far back he is, because that's going to be unfamiliar territory if he's behind a lot of rivals early.
Yeah, the pace complexion of this race is quite murky just because so many of these horses have either been on the lead or forward in sprints. So someone is going to not get the trip that they're looking for, and probably more than just someone. I could see a couple of them getting jostled in this loaded field. The next two might be the two most likely winners of the race, in my opinion, just on talent and on paper. Carmel Road and Lugan Knight. I know we were both on Lugan Knight last time in the Jerome. He won, not the way I thought he did. He went wire to wire that day, but he proved to be best. And Carmel Road is shipping in from California, moving to the barn of Tim Yakteen. These two definitely look formidable, but again, the pace scenario is certainly in play here.
Yeah, and you have to respect Lugan Knight off of that win. Granted, he went wire to wire, but he's more than capable of rating off the pace, as he showed in his maiden win and as a really good effort at Churchill Downs in late November in an allowance race. Dylan Davis sticks with Lugan Knight over Slip Mahoney. Had ridden both those colts. We got a couple other jockeys that have ridden multiple riders in this field and have made a choice. I like Lugan Knight at the one-turn mile distance. I think it's a good fit for him. I gave him serious consideration for the win, Darren.
Yeah, I think he's one of the more likely winners. Is he your top selection at this point, or is he still under just serious consideration?
He's gonna be he's gonna be right below my top pick, which is the other horse you just referenced, Carmel Road. I am going to lean on this Quality Road Cole. He's really bred top and bottom to go longer distances, but I actually believe that this 1 turn mile fits him a little bit better right now, at least at this stage of his career. Exits in Everett and the Los Alamitos for Charity, where he set the pace that day in a 4-horse field. That field had Arabian Line, who looked like he was going to be speed. Carmel Road beat him to the lead. And while he proved no match for Practical Move, really held in well to be a clear second. I think he moves forward off that effort. And what I like is that in post 5, I think all the speed's outside him. I think he's got a shot to get to the front with Eric Cancel. I'm going to give Carmel Road a slight edge on the front end.
Fair enough. I got a little bit cute here, James, just because this race was so competitive, so wide open. I was fairly convinced that the early pace scenario was going to be strong. And I'm taking one of the horses who's coming off a wire-to-wire win, but has also shown versatility in his debut to be able to rally from off the pace. Number 7, Transect for Paulo Lobo, is shipping in from Turfway Park, coming off the synthetic, going to the dirt for the first time. Now, the interesting thing here is that Lobo also has a horse running in the Battaglia at Turfway, which probably explains why Transect is here. Corrales rode both those horses in his last start, and I imagine there was probably some conversation as to which one should remain at Turfway and which one should be moved to a conventional dirt surface. By Gunrunner, I have an AP Indy mare. Conventional dirt certainly should not be an issue here. And like I said, he is a horse that's won both lifetime starts, but I like the fact that he's proven to be versatile. He's won from well off the pace sprinting, and he's won on the lead sprinting. We don't know where the top is with this horse yet. There's certainly plenty of upside, and I'm definitely going to get a price here. So we're going to take a swing for the fence with Transect. What do you think about him?
I like it. I mean, I like the going for the value, and I agree wholeheartedly. Another type of race, I thought I mentioned this before, where in that allowance win, he sort of wound up on the lead and just held his spot. He outclassed those rivals in a sense, but I loved his debut effort when he rallied off that pace that day, won by open lengths. And these OXO horses with Paulo Lobo, they had a horse in the Rebel last week. You mentioned in the Gotham, got a lot of good, well-bred horses that have broke their maiden. This is a 3-year-old colt Gunrunner, colt out of an AP Indy mare, really well-bred Transect, and $300,000 yearling purchase. So he's not your typical last out maiden winner for Turfway, Darin.
Yeah, I agree. We'll take a big chance with him at 15-1. So it's Transect for myself. Carmel Road is 6-1 on the morning line. That is James's choice. And don't forget that we still have that Kentucky Derby prep leaderboard contest, $100,000 prize pool. Now we're starting to get to the races where those point values really move up. 50 points, 100-point races are not too far off. So even if you haven't been involved yet, there's plenty of points out there to get you caught up really quickly. So go to TwinSpires.com, go to the offers page, opt into the Derby Prep Leaderboard contest, and take part and get a piece of that $100,000 prize pool. For James, this is Darin Zoccali signing off. Remember to stick with us all Kentucky Derby Trail long on the way up to the Run for the Roses at TwinSpires.